Welcome into Smith Lake, Alabama Television. I'm Debbie Wood. Our very special guest today, Gordon Sandlin, is the Administrative Director for 911 here in Cullman County. And thank you for your time. I know you're busy. Thank you for allowing us to come in and talk with you today.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the areas of assistance that 911 covers. And we're talking about actually three different areas.
Yeah.
Big areas.
Yeah. As far as I know, you're mainly concerned about the lake and
Yes.
Smith Lake, but as far as the Cullman County goes, Cullman County is a 911 district, and inside that district, there's three PSAPs, which are public safety answering points, primary. In other words, when you make a 911 call, based upon where you're at or where that landline's at or where your cell phone's at as to which PSAP it will go to. One's at the Sheriff's Department, one is the City of Cullman, and one's at the City of Huntsville.
Okay.
And each one of those have their geographical boundaries that we have set up, or polygons we've set up for them.
Right.
It didn't used to work that way. It used to work with off of towers, wherever the towers was at. But now we can set up polygons, and wherever that call comes from, that's where we know which PSAP gets the call.
Okay.
And then as far as responding, it's up to what's going on, where it's at, as to who's going to be sent and respond to the situation. But each one of those have an agency head that are responsible for that response.
Okay. Each department, each dispatch center has.
Like if they dispatch the fire department, that
Okay.
fire chief's responsible.
Gotcha.
Okay, the sheriff, he's responsible for his people. The police
Okay.
chief's responsible for his people.
Okay.
When they're responding, that's their responsibility.
Okay.
To get there. It's our job to get it to them.
To get them to them. Okay. So if I'm at Smith Lake Park, which is definitely in Cullman County, and I'm out with my kids, my grandkids, have a medical emergency, who's going to answer that call?
At Smith Lake Park, it would go to the Cullman County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
And they would answer 911. Where is your emergency?
Okay.
But they're going to see a ping on their screen, on their 911 screen.
Because of our cell phone?
In the rapid SOS screen, huh?
Because of our cell phone?
If it's on a cell phone, yeah.
Okay.
They're going to see a ping, and it's going to give them a pretty accurate location where you're at.
Okay.
And so they'll see that, and then based on what the need is, if it's the Sheriff's Department, they will one-button transfer to Cullman EMS, which is a secondary PSAP for all medical calls.
Okay.
Except for the City of Cullman, they do some pre-arrival instructions, but if they need an ambulance, they transfer to EMS.
Okay.
The Sheriff's Department would transfer to EMS, and EMS would then dispatch medical personnel, tone a fire department for medical response also.
Okay.
And then if it escalates, they'll need a helicopter. They'll do that too.
So they make the decision once they arrive on site.
No, it can be made. If they think there's going to be a helicopter, they'll usually. That's their protocol. I won't speak, but I know what they do. They'll usually get a helicopter en route already. You can always cancel the helicopter before it gets there if you need to, while your units are trying to get on the scene.
That's true. That's a good point.
If it's a bad call, they usually try to get one en route.
Okay.
And then once people get on scene, they see what they need, and then they can land those helicopters. Pretty much as long as they got a good LZ for them, they can land them, and as long as it's safe to get them in and out.
Right.
Like Crane Hill has pre-designated already landing zones for helicopters, but if it's somewhere else off the grid a little bit, they can still give them coordinates where they want them to go to.
Because they can land pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, they can. Well, and the ground units try to set up a good LZ for them, but that chopper pilot, it's up to his responsibility to get it in and out.
To get it in and out.
He can always change it if he wants to.
That's true. So I knew because I do live in the city of Cullman, I knew that if you needed an ambulance, fire department comes to you first. They're en route as the ambulance is coming. So it's the same situation in the county. Ambulance is dispatched first. Fire department comes pretty much volunteer.
Yeah, they can usually get their because sometimes they're closer and they can get there sooner than the ambulance can.
Yeah.
And it's the ambulance has to be closer. They get there too.
They can get there too.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's so good to know, and has to be reassuring, folks. Those of you that live down on the lake, and all of you that are new out there to the Smith Lake community, and to know that you are covered, and it's just such a good thing. Let's talk a little bit about the centers themselves. I know we just mentioned it. There's 3 different ones.
Yeah.
But tell us where they're located.
One's located at the Sheriff's Department.
Mm-hmm.
One's located at the City of Hansel, and
Okay.
one's located at the City of Cullman.
Okay.
That's the primary. That's where your original call is going to go to. If it's medical, they'll transfer it to EMS or our county fire. If it's fire in the county, they'll transfer it to EMS.
Right.
And EMS will dispatch medical people and do most of the pre-arrival instruction. The City of Cullman does some pre-arrival instructions also.
They do.
Because their people are trained to do that.
Okay.
And they have their own fire department and medical people with their fire department.
Okay. Earlier, we were talking to Kayla Smith, who is his GIS mapping expert, and she said, don't forget, how do we contact 911 other than just a cell phone? How else can you do that?
You can text 911 in Cullman County. And matter of fact, we've got technology now that we can do a reverse video with you if we need to.
Really?
They have the time, yes.
Okay.
They have the capability of being able to control your cell phone a little bit. You have to give them permission. They can't just do it automatically. You give them permission to control it, then they can see what's going on where you're at.
That's
It'll come across their screen. Even to the point where we can turn the screen off and still see.
And still see.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is so cool to know.
It's a situation where it needs to be that way.
It needs to be, depending on what's going on. Yep. Such great information. And we want to sort of end this segment talking about the different areas of Smith Lake. Cullman County, certainly, as we said, starting our first segment, covers the main, or not the main, but more area, the majority of the Smith Lake. But we also have, in fact, our property is in Winston County. The house itself sits in Cullman County, but the property, the lake, is in Winston. So there's 2 other areas, Winston and Walker
County, yes. And,
that you guys don't cover.
No, but usually they will do mutual aid with them if they need to.
Okay, good.
Helican with Winston County, and then I think it's Curry with Walker County as the fire districts that kind of handle those areas.
Okay.
And Crane Hill and Cold Springs, and they do coordinate with them a lot of times on coordinating where it's at. If they can get there first, they'll say send them first, because some of the roads are different.
Sure.
Even though it's another county, they'll still go.
Okay.
But as far as how they're set up in Walker County and how they're set up in Winston County, I wouldn't want to speak for them.
Sure.
I know how I can speak for Cullman County.
Right.
But it does work fairly well. You're talking about Smith Lake, okay?
Big.
And if you got something happening in the middle of the lake, that's the hardest place for us to handle at times, because you're out in the middle of a body of water, and pinpointing where that's at is kind of tough sometimes. And getting to where it's at, and where do you want to launch your boats at? Where you want to pull them to when you find what's going on.
Exactly.
Those are all things that haven't been coordinated at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah, and people are trying to make quick decisions real quick.
Absolutely. Life and death situation.
Life and death situation.
And I understand recently, and it may have been from your office, but Crane Hill recently did, I think maybe they did some fundraisers to get boats for that situation.
They do, yeah.
So if you're out in the middle of the lake and it's difficult to get to, then they've got those boats that are able to. So that's a reassuring thing too, to know that that's available.
Yeah.
So good. All right, great information. And of course, we want to thank you this morning for letting us come in.
I enjoyed it.
Always good to see you. I told him when I saw him yesterday, blast from the past, because I haven't seen him in 30 years.
Yeah, it's been I don't go that far.
I don't know if it's 30 years. That's right. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
But thank you for what you do.
I can talk all day on.
You love what you do.
I love what I do.
And after hearing and knowing, learning so much over the last couple of days, I certainly have such a big respect for all of these folks that live it and breathe it and love what they do. But we're going to see a couple of more segments as time goes on too. Jeff is with us, my co-host, and he's actually doing some interviews today with Kayla Smith, who is their GIS mapping expert. So you're going to enjoy those segments too. We want to say thanks for joining us today, Smith Lake, Alabama Television.